Wani Steven, welcome to the recent past.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I've, as you know, I've taken like almost like a year plus off my podcast because initially I started it, but I think things weren't going as I planned. But now I'm back and I'm trying to revive it with a bit of more energy. And such a delight to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, just for the benefit of the audience who might not know you, maybe you can just tell me like who you are and what you do.
Okay. Where do I start from? I'm Wani Steven. I am a tech and IP lawyer.
IP, intellectual property, right?
Yes, I'm a technology and intellectual property lawyer. Sometimes I get cocky and I say I'm the only one. The only Junubi tech and IP lawyer. I run Witness Law Advocates and Center for Internet and Communication, which is ICOMS. Yes.
Okay, super. You're I think I got to know you. I got to know you when you were in the UK, right?
In the UK.
Yeah,
yes.
online
yes.
first, and then subsequently when you came back, we met. Maybe you can just tell me a little bit about your upbringing and your study life prior to joining the professional life.
Well, born and raised in Juba, studied in Malakia Primary School. This is exactly Malakia.
Yeah.
Just behind these big shops.
Yeah.
That's where I studied my primary school. I did my high school in Supiri Secondary School. Then university, I went to Khartoum, Neelain University. So I did my law school in Neelain University. But then came back to Juba, had a bit of couple of years of working. Then I did my masters in the UK.
That's a lot of that's a very swift transition.
A little bit, yeah.
What kind of work were you doing here before you went for your masters?
Oh, so when I finished my undergrad from Neelain University, I came to Juba. And the first thing that I did was I went to this colleague of mine, Anis. By then, they had a law firm called Legal Wisdom. And I started working with them. I did my training with them for a period of a month and couple of weeks. Then I left them. Yes. I left them because the whole firm was, colleagues who studied in Neelain University. All of us were Arabic, from the Arabic background. We had a bit of English, but, only to just, change few formats here and there. So when I left them, I called them for a meeting and then I told them I need to go.
Yeah.
And I clearly told them, you guys are giving me the knowledge that I want. But when I look at where I want to be, this is not it. So I left them and I went and I joined Lawrence Korbandy. Of course, after
Honorable
chasing
Honorable
Lawrence Korbandy, the current special envoy.
Special envoy, former presidential advisor on legal affairs.
Yes.
Yeah.
So by then he was still working with, he was the commissioner for human rights.
Yeah.
Yes. So I had to spend close to a month chasing an appointment with him, coming at 6 a.m. In the office for everyone, come tomorrow, Korbandy is not around and all that for about a month. And then finally I met him and I joined his law firm, did my training, and from there just continued.
How was working with Honorable Korbandy?
It was interesting. I think we were very few in the law firm that were fluent in Arabic. The rest of the colleagues were from English background. And I think the firm by then had about 18 or 20 colleagues, associates in the law firm. So when I joined, we were only two, I think, who were fluently in Arabic. So, you can guess all the Arabic work, literally any case that just comes, a plaint with Arabic, they just where is Wani? Where is Wani?
And that's also a lot of the criminal procedure, blah, 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 is in Arabic usually, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of exposure by then, traveling to the States, Yambio to Yei. It was quite
what was kind of one of the some of the complicated cases that you came through?
I mean, a couple of them, but at some point we had a conversation over the Vivacell case a long time ago, before they were stopped, because there was a long
mediation over conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
So my colleague Moses Emmanuel was the lead counsel, but every now and then I was assisting him in that. We had I've handled a couple of murder cases.
When you handle a murder case, what does that involve? You handled it from what? From the defendant side or from?
Defendant side, yes. Most of the murder cases that I've handled, I was representing the defense. Actually, there is one I was representing the complainant or the prosecution.
Oh, the prosecution, yeah.
Yes. But most of
so the prosecution is the one that is arguing against the person who killed. The person who killed is the defendant. Yeah. So that and the person who handles the defendant is usually that's like the criminal. What do you call the
accused?
They are called what they're called. They have a name here, like
accused.
Not the accused. I mean the lawyers who handle this kind of cases. Criminal. Like there is an famous one actually in Kenya who just handle cases where people to defend.
Murderers.
Yeah. So you handle cases where you defended people who committed murder.
Yeah.
How does that work?
There is one case I was representing the prosecution, and I mean the case was in my favor. It was one of the SPLM soldiers around Yei Road, that Ashara Wilayat houses. I think he went and he shot about 6 people. 4 of them died on spot. 2 were injured. So I handled that case because some of the people who died were from this orphanage house called SOS. Yeah. So we've handled that case until the final judgment was in our favor. He was convicted and all that, and he was sentenced to
death.
Yeah. So that particular case, I think since that case I did not handle any
capital punishment.
Yeah. Because
Why?
To me I was like, okay, it did not feel like.
It didn't feel like winning.
Like, yeah.
Why?
So, like after the judge, like the sentence was pronounced, like the guy started crying. He started crying and trying to beg here and there, stating that he has a wife, children, and all that. So, to me, is like that really shifts my view in terms of criminal cases, because I mean at the end of the day, it is us South Sudanese who are losing another person. Yes, 4 people who have already died, but sentencing this one person to die as well, it's another South Sudanese who's dying.
Do you think your view on the death penalty has shifted a bit?
I think we can have more like better sentence as a country. We can use even those criminals. We can reform them.
Do you think
and use them to benefit the country? Yeah. And use them to benefit the country.
Like in such a case, like where the person is sentenced to death, you will also be required to come when he's being hanged or he's being when they're administering
the family. Yes. Yeah. The lawyer you can go if you want, but you can also just dodge, which happened in my case.
And you didn't go?
No, I didn't go.
But the family went.
Yes, I think.
And they did administer the.
I think they did. Yeah, I think they did.
I mean, that's very interesting. So you practice a bit, and then from there on, when did you start kind of becoming into like doing like human rights, whatever interest in human rights?
So funny enough, my former boss, my only boss, because I didn't work with any other person after him. Korbandy used to discourage us from pursuing human rights.
But he was the human rights commissioner?
He was.
Yeah.
He has this very interesting view. He's saying that people who study human rights and this human rights lawyer, they are taught to receive money instead of making money. So he taught us to be, in other words, to be hustlers, So that was my mentality. I was like, human rights, no. Even when I was doing my master's, when I was applying to go and do my master's, human rights was never one of them. Like human rights law, whatever, it was never in my list. But I mean, human rights is very vast. Now I find myself talking about freedom of speech and so forth. So when I came back, actually in 2017, when I joined Anataban, Anataban Art Initiative, I think that was the beginning of my...
How did you end up joining Anataban?
Poetry.
Because you're a poet.
I used to be.
You used to be a poet.
I used to be a poet. Yeah.
What?
A very good one.
I don't understand poetry. What makes someone do poetry?
So, I mean, people have different reasons to do poetry. People have different muse. To me, I just had a lot of creative ideas and expressions within me, and I wanted to express them. So yeah, I found myself writing poetry, I think from primary 7. And by then it wasn't like proper writing, right? It's just like love.
But the poetry is good for getting girls, right?
It pays. I mean, it's, yeah. So from 2007, I started writing poetry from then. I did couple of, because back then in Juba, there was this inter-school competitions, even at the state level. So I think our school, Malekia, by then won, I think, some of them. I had, like, the first thing I got was eyeglasses and some small notebook from poetry. But he was so surprised. Like, is it your first? I was like, yes. So he was like, no, he couldn't believe it. Yeah.
So you get back from there, and then how did you get a chance to, you went to the UK through the Chevening scholarship, right?
Yes.
Which year was this? 2019?
2020.
2020.
Yes.
So you applied through the process, and Chevening is very tough getting through.
Chevening is the whole process is very transparent. So there is no uncle tucking. But it's also very difficult because it's a wholly almost like close to a wholly application process.
Because there are several interviews and kind of like shortlisting. And
So I applied. I started the application in 2019. I did the application. My friend Daniel Chorema helped me with like reviewing my essays and all that. And also my cousin Godfrey, he was already in the UK. But he was a little bit, he's like, I'm busy. So I had to like be on his neck every now and then. But they helped me with reviewing the application. And I applied. I was shortlisted for interview. COVID happened. COVID happened, and instead of a physical interview, we had to do an online interview. Yes.
So you go to the UK. Which university are you in?
Sussex.
Sussex University.
University of Sussex.
So you do a year there.
Yes, 1 year and a couple of. So the term is 1 year. But I spent a year plus a little bit. Yeah.
When you got back, what was in your mind?
So after I finished my my studies and everything, I started working with the ISF, Internet Without Borders, Internet Sans Frontières, with Julie Ouno, who is currently the member of the Facebook Oversight Board. So I started interning with ISF. So, I mean, I had a couple of ideas, right? It's like, okay, you can go to any European country and just be fine there, or go to France because ISF headquarters was in France, or go to France. You're already, employed with them. You can just, continue. But to me, I was like, okay, when I come back, I would be able to influence things. Yeah. Instead of being in Europe, you would be what? Like any other lawyer.
Yeah.
You just, one of the employees in whatever company. So I said, no, I want to come back and at least.
Was it difficult coming back to Juba? Is that 2022?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2022.
So when you came back,
it's actually I came back in December, 1st of December, 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was the re-engagement here?
Back. So when I was going, I already had a law firm.
The witness law?
No, by then it was Inadio Law Chambers. Yes. So when I was coming back, because Inadio was my own thing. I was the founder, the everything. So when I was coming back around September 2021, I started engaging with Victor Doko, Victor Henry Doko. And we started conversation on forming witness law advocates. Yes. Because when I was coming back, I wanted to do three things. Like something to get me money, something to invest my money in, and something to give back to the community.
I think on this theme of giving back to the community, you were part of you ran for the East African Legislative Assembly election. Yeah. Which is actually interesting because you had talked to me about it.
I mean, in Baobab.
In Baobab. In Baobab Art House. So it was actually in the evening, like late, it's around like 10 or so.
3 weeks before the election.
3 weeks before the election. And you're like, hey, look, I am thinking of doing something very crazy.
Yeah.
And I was just like, tell me what it is. Like, what if I run for this election? Almost doing it as a prank.
Yeah.
I'm just like, then I think we had a conversation back and forth. You're like, even if I lose, I'm like, you know what, you do it. And I think you sent me a message 2 days after and you're like, you're very serious. And before you know it,
picked the form, paid the money.
How much was it?
I think it was $1,000.
$1,000, because you told me that was part of the hindrance. What made you run for that election?
So I had a very interesting career. I mean, because working with Korbandy, like the former Human Rights Commission, then the presidential legal advisor, you definitely get exposed to politics and politicians. So in 2018 and 2019, after the revitalized peace agreement, and all these guys come back, all these politicians comes back, I started engaging with some of them, especially colleagues from SAWA. I started engaging with some of them and advising some political parties on issues legal issues related to the revitalized peace agreement, and also drafting, helping them in drafting their constitutions and so forth. So, like, when I was going to study, I mean, by the time I got like my final scholarship award, I also had an offer from VP Abdul Bagi. We had a conversation that I'm supposed to be his press secretary. So I was looking at that and also looking at my master's, right? So I went to Korbandy, because Korbandy, since then, he like our professional relationship continued. So I went to Korbandy and I told him, hey, look, I have this offer, to join the VP in his, team as the press secretary. But at the same time, I have this scholarship. And because I consulted two people, I consulted Korbandy out of my close circle. I consulted Korbandy and Dr. Anna Ito. So when I consulted the two of them, both of them, especially Korbandy, was very clear. He was like, Steve, South Sudan is not going anywhere. This peace agreement, you would go study and come back, you still find it. So if you are interested in politics, when you come back, you can still do that. But now you'll be doing it with like from a different angle. You'd have exposure. Leverage. Exactly. So he actually urged me to go and study. I
mean, you would have had a V8 by now. If you had taken So that means like you had political inclination even before you left.
Engagement, yes. Yes. Mostly as a lawyer. Like until now I did not announce my allegiance or support to any political party.
So for this, first of all, for the East African Legislative Assembly kind of thing, where do you get the money? You go use your own money?
I mean, I run Witness Law Advocate. Yeah. We're not rich, but we're doing fine.
So you put the cash there.
Yeah. And actually one of my friends also chipped in, a female friend also chipped in, and I think she did 10% of the whatever. It was like, this is my contribution, I don't have much. But that actually gave me that, morale. I was like, okay, we can do this.
how was the process trying to make a case for yourself with because the people who vote are the parliamentarians. It's not a public election. Yeah. How was that?
It was a bit crazy because apart from 8 parliamentarians, by then I didn't know any other parliamentarians.
Wow.
And these 8 parliamentarians were members of PDM in the Sawa coalition. So I didn't know any other person. It was only them. So I had to use a different campaign strategy because even by then I did not go to parliament to talk to anyone in the parliament. Yeah. So it was my first time to go there. Yeah. So I had to use like a different political approach or campaign approach, which is mobilizing through my network to mobilize for me. Yeah, so it's more like Shogolta Harambeda. It's like, we're doing this, Jama. Talk to X, Y, and Z. Yeah. Yeah, so we did that. What was surprise is after I spoke with you, a couple of days later, 2 days later, I went to the parliament to pick the form, paid the money, and I met Honorable White. She was, I don't know whether she's still or she was the secretary of the Women Caucus. I met her with another honorable, and I immediately started talking to her. I was like, this is me. This is what I want to do. And the first people to get to endorse, because you need to have, I think, 25 members of parliament to endorse your. So they were the first people to actually endorse immediately from the clerk office before even going out. So 1 hour later in the parliament, and I got the 25. Signatures. Yeah. So that actually increased my. I was like, okay.
So in the final election, like you made because everyone given a chance to make their case, and people are very impressed by your presentation and your ideas. A lot of that. How did that make you feel?
I mean, I was really happy that I got the platform. Yeah. Like other people to also see what I can offer, and also to know that I am ready to serve South Sudan. So it was really nice. It felt good, even though the result was different. The result was different.
Because you got how many votes in total?
75.
That's very impressive.
Yeah, about 20% of the.
Because the person who came first got what, 100 and something?
100 and something.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah, and you're what, the third or fourth?
To not enter.
Like in terms of the votes.
No, I mean, there are other people who got way less.
Yeah, there are other people who got way less. And people who actually, we expected them to get more.
Yeah. So it was a very interesting experience because also I got exposure to now a different set of politicians from different political parties. And to be honest, if it wasn't for the revitalized peace agreement and the internal power sharing
the blocks,
I would have made it.
Yeah, because and also impressively, you ran as an independent, which is
yeah.
But also, what did that make you? What lesson did you learn about political blocks and issues like that? Because there were so many things. There were like tribal blocks. They were like, though it was not. Yeah, but also like the equatorial regions. There were like so much calculations. Yeah.
So this is the thing. When I and let me apologize in advance to Mama Ann. So when I was after I got like my form and everything, I went to Dr. Ann Ito.
Who's someone that you consulted earlier when you were going for your for your study?
I mean, she's
like a mother.
Yeah, she's like a mother
and a political
and also someone that I really respect when it comes to politics. So 2 people I consulted again, Anna Ito and also Korbandy. So I went to Anna Ito before going to Korbandy. And Anna Ito actually discouraged me from running.
Because she was also vying for the same seat?
She was also...
not same seat, but she was vying in this election.
She was vying, but I think for her, she was more coming up from this approach of like, how like this regionalism, how many people are contesting from Equatoria. If you run, you will be dividing Equatorian votes and all that. And to me, I was like, so I went to Korbandy, and Korbandy actually supported me, and he was like, yeah, go for it, you know. and he started making phone calls immediately. He started making phone calls. It's like, what is required? Like he was now like getting information about what is required
for someone.
Yes. And he got all the requirements. By then I had a couple of them because Mama Ann, Dr. Anaito, actually, like apart from just discouraging me from running, she actually, like we first had a very genuine conversation. She told me the requirements and everything.
Because she'd already been in the legislation. That was her second term.
So she told me the requirements and everything, and then she told me her view, like her personal view.
Which is fair.
Which I said no. And I think saying no to her in the presence of other because there was other parliamentarians in her office by then. I went to her office. There was some women who came to also, show their support to her. So them, clearly saying, hearing her telling me I should wait for next time, and me saying, I'm going to go for it. Actually, to me, I felt like that actually didn't help me well.
It didn't help you?
Yeah. I mean, I could have been more.
You could have been more polite.
Yes.
And or say like, okay, like
I'll think about
say
it.
yes, think or say you can say so many other words apart from saying yes or no.
Yeah. But to me, I mean, Mama Ann is like a mother to me, right? And a political figure. So between me and her, there is that openness. Yeah. So I told her, I was like, this is, but I'm going to try my best. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? I would be losing the 1,000 plus the money that I spent on the campaign.
So that the night that you lost, how was it? Because there were a lot of friends there. I could see them. They took food? What?
So, So this is the funny thing.
Jumbo was an observer.
So this is the funny thing. When we lost, my campaign team started celebrating. Yeah, we literally started celebrating. And no one understood why we were celebrating. And I remember Honorable John Hanganyi, the former chairperson of the ICT committee, he was actually asking us to stop, because they wanted to have a press conference. And we were just celebrating. And David Ayuel. I wanted to enter into like a confrontation with him. I was like, dude, come on. So for us, it was more of a win than a lose. Yes, we did not go to represent the country, right? But then when you look at it, someone who's
totally was, nobody nobody knew him like a few weeks ago,
especially in Parliament.
In Parliament,
coming in and getting 20% of the votes. That's literally like two states in the country, or two representatives from two states saying that we believe in Wani, let him go. So, or if you want to use half, that will be like half of 4 states. If you want to use quarter, then that's like a quarter of 80 states in the country, saying that I should go and represent South Sudan. So to us, that was, I mean, losing the money bit hurts, but.
And then, like, fast forward, you also now, like, the past month or so, you have been involved in the bar situation. Also, another election.
Yes.
Having lost an election, wasn't that not enough sign that you should
I mean, elections are a very beautiful thing. Personally, I don't love it, but I feel like there is a certain passion that comes with the process of giving someone your voice or choosing who's supposed to lead you. And for me, that's it. Like, that's the passion that drives me to, to engage and, take active role in any election that will be relevant to me.
What was your role in this bar association election?
So I was, I am the head of the media in the Advocates Alliance.
So so there were like two camps here. There was the Advocate Alliance and the Reform and Prosperity.
The Reform and Prosperity led by Arop, led by Rech.
Advocate Rech.
And then there is Advocates Alliance led by Arop Malweth. Yeah, so you can say I was the spokesperson.
Yeah. How did you end up getting that position?
So when Rech's team started forming their group and they're starting, mobilizing, campaigning, I didn't join them.
Yeah.
So when it came to my knowledge that there's another group led by Arop and all that, I personally went to him and I told him, look, I'm going to be with you. Because before that, I didn't have like one-on-one with him. I didn't even know him.
You didn't know him, huh?
Yeah. I didn't even know him. But I went to him, I said, I'm going to be with you. I'm going to support you in any way that I can. Of course, it's politics, right? Yeah. Provided that 1 and 2, you must consider 1 and 2.
What is that 1 and 2?
Youth representation. Because like the other camp, we had a couple of meetings as Equatorian lawyers, and what they were emphasizing on is the idea of leaving opportunity for senior lawyers to even like the executive. When they formed their executive, they were giving priorities to senior lawyers, people who were like 15, 20 years in experience.
So what was the answer from Arabs?
He actually welcomed it. He was like, because the first thing that I told him is like, youth representation in your executive. Like the executive and the central committee. Yeah. And when I say youth here, because other people might understand it in the civil society context, when I say youth here, I mean young lawyers.
Young lawyers who probably had like 5 years.
Yeah, anyone who's below 35 years old, or anyone who's less than, let's say, 7 or 10 years.
7 or 10 years in practice.
Yeah. So I told him is like, just observe that as one. Then we can. So
then he told you can be the media. Or you had
actually no. When we had that conversation, he said, this is very good. I would definitely put this under consideration. Then we started meetings and all that. I was actually surprised when he called me and he was like, "You're going to be the head of the media team."
Because you're like this.
So because like it came out of nowhere. I was sleeping. It's like, you're going to be head of the media. I was like, oh, okay.
You call Korbandy?
I know. This time I did not call him. But I think one of these days I went to his office, to his house in Jebel. And I was now actually, trying to mobilize him to be on our side. Yeah.
To lend. Yeah. And then what was your strategy in trying to manage the media campaign for?
So we had a couple of ideas. The first day we sat, we told everyone to like the media team. I told them to bring in ideas. So they started bringing ideas. So I told them that we are going to emphasize on the use of technology, the use of technology in our media. We were not big on print and traditional media. Yeah. We're not big on print and traditional media. So ours was more to focus on, digital media, social media platforms, to try to demonstrate that, we are different. Yeah, so we did that, and we did actually a couple of recordings, audio, passing it, through our different WhatsApp groups where, it's mainly lawyers. So we did that. We have opened we created a website, which was very interesting, because the other camp didn't see it coming.
Because they had never thought of.
No.
Because each camp has its spies in the other camp, right?
Yes. So, no, but this is the thing. Like my media team, like my other colleagues, I think some people I personally picked them because people I work with them before, so we studied before, so I know them personally. And some, of course, are recommendations from different colleagues.
So how the website? I was because I was actually involved in the process of it. You came to me I think it was again also you're like, hey, is it possible to create a website? And I was like, the answer to you, I was like, yes, it is possible. And you're like, how long? I'm like, I need 2-3 days.
It's supposed to be 3.
I was just like, I can get you. And I thought before you're like, hey, let's go with it.
And it went it was actually a very shock to a lot of people because we've had elections for South Sudan Bar Association before in 2015, where it ended up with
a lot of the ballots being taken and
being picked, but also in 2020, and this time now.
Yeah.
But in all this period, no one even thought of that completely. So this is the first time that people are thinking of creative ways, to engage audience and all that.
Having the website, what message did it send to everyone?
So, like when you read our manifesto, we we want to sort of introduce use of technology, in doing work. So we don't want lawyers to just focus on the market in South Sudan, but we want them to also to look beyond. And one of the fastest way to do that is, to have presence online. Yes. So when we put those things in our manifesto, we had to demonstrate that, just a bit of, like a
little bit of the sample of what is
like, okay, guys, this is what we're going to do.
Now, when you kind of you had a now that you guys won, what is the future prospect for you and also the Bar Association?
Well, I would talk more for the Bar Association. So for the Bar Association, we are inheriting a Bar Association that does not have any assets, that does not have any resources. So it's a very interesting challenge. But I think our leadership, myself and other colleagues in the leadership, including our president, Arop Malweth, is so excited, and we really want to start, tackling this challenge. So in a period of maybe a week or two, we are going to do the formal inauguration for the 3 candidates that were elected. We're also going to form or appoint the executive and the central committee, like the other organs of the bar. We are going to appoint them, and they're going to work. They are going to,
what kind of a leader is Arop?
So one thing that I like about Arop is that he listens. Yes, he's a very humble person. He can sit with anyone. He can sit with you and actually listen to what you want to say, and then makes a judgment after it.
After that.
Yes. So to me, that's like the most important part, because there is few people, few leaders who would actually sit and listen to you, but he listens, and when he sees that you actually have something to offer, he actually go with what you have to say.
I mean, that's very interesting. I mean, looking at your life, you're clearly someone who kind of like, you're someone who's daring. You took a lot of jump steps, learning Spanish, wanting to be what. Do you view yourself as someone who is, I wouldn't use the word unstable, but someone who's a bit jumpy at times?
So I think one thing that I would say about myself, that's a very difficult one. One thing that I would say about myself is that I get bored quickly. So I would be doing something, and I always want to go to the next thing. Yeah, because I don't believe that that as a young person you should be doing one thing for 10, 20 years. You should always have a room for new things.
For growth.
For growth and jumping into new things. So
and that is the reason you're going to run in this coming election.
Which one? No.
Are you vying for any seat for this national election?
No. So this is the same thing that someone was asking me before this election for the Bar Association, because I qualified to run even for the presidency of the Bar Association. I have more than the 10 years experience that is required by law. But I'm not running. I will be supporting candidates who are running. But personally, I will not run. For now, I want to focus on the Bar Association. And I want to start teaching as well.
Yeah, in the university?
Yes.
Ajo was here the other day. He told me he teaches at the School of Law at the university. Yeah. So I think the teaching is a good direction for you.
I mean, I want to, because I've been doing a lot of things. I've been doing pro bono legal services here and there, running ICOMs, but I want to now.
You're being very modest when you say that you're just doing pro bono legal stuff. You actually like someone who actually one of the few lawyers who really does a lot of free work, especially for people who don't have any access to resources and legal aid.
I mean, to me, it's just like my time. So
because I remember, because I know two of these cases that we closely were we were on the back because somehow our paths crossed. Because that's also something that interests my heart so much. Criminal justice and kind of like access to justice. In fact, to be honest with you, I think because a lot of one of the things that got shocked me is that like how little money is needed to some people to be freed. They're like a lot of young people languishing there for border. For what? A phone. What? Some people even it's not money. It's just like there is no one to push for them, and even lack of legal knowledge. Because you just find someone there, you just like feel like, okay, I cannot question authority. I cannot ask for what is my right and what. To be honest with you, I think like if we, even as young people, if we actually invest in something, like if you invest part of your time and money to go to these cells and to go to even if you're not a lawyer, you'll actually have a very huge impact on people's lives. It's not a lot of money.
And now, like when you look at that from a perspective of a lawyer, especially someone who's running a law firm, you know, and I have a couple of, trainees and people who are working with me, it makes it very easy because I'm not spending.
You're not spending money because
it's
now
only
you just
my time. It's only my time, and for like if we're doing it as a firm, it means that my associates or let's say if I have interns or trainees, they're also learning. So
it's it's a very impressive. It's a very impressive thing. The issue of justice is a very close issue. One of the issues that currently right now I saw in the news that the Arab government is going to compensate, it's going to give blood money for the people who died inside the container. When I see such a thing, I'm just like, why? Like what lack of legal knowledge, basic human rights will warrant someone who is probably junior there or whatever it is based on the investigation to take a decision of locking people in a container? Like 6 people dying. And at times I think when people listen to the news, when we read news, we really don't understand what is 6 people. 6 people is like 2 rakshas.
Exactly, full.
Yes, 2 rakshas full. Like that is what is 6 people. It's a 6 people is like looking like all your close friends, and 6 people from probably the same family or what. And I think those are some of the things that I think at the time people don't understand the magnitude of these issues.
It's really sad because like I think our law enforcement agent they need a lot of legal awareness, especially those who are not in Juba.
Why do you think our law enforcement is so heavy-handed and at times very, very much divorced from the Constitution?
I don't know. I think, like the basic requirements to for you to be a policeman. In Sudan those days, they would tell you is like you must be a Sudanese, you must at least is it like Shahada Sudanese and like the Sudan school certificates. Here, anyone can be a
policeman.
Yeah, anyone can be a policeman. And sometimes these are people who don't have any educational background, or they have very minimum, and they don't get to read the laws. They don't get to read what they can or they cannot do.
They cannot do and what is within their means.
Yeah. So they feel like, they can do anything. Yeah. And that is the main problem. So there is a huge need for people to collaborate, for the legal or for the justice system to collaborate, and at least try to educate everyone, including law enforcement agents, on the do's and the don't.
Do you think as a lawyer, do you find a lot of times you have to cut corners to accommodate for such lack of knowledge of the law?
When you're out of Juba, you definitely have to you definitely go through some of these things. Even in Juba, for example, most of the sectors, because in Juba we have almost every block or whatever, they have a sector, right? The people in the sector, they sometimes don't follow like proper legal procedures. So you find they would put you in
because the sector is a
sometimes.
multi-agency kind of thing. It's not a police station.
It is not, and they can do quite huge things. They can detain you for a certain number of days. Once one of the sectors in Juba arrested one of my clients, who's a diplomat. Yes, representative of a foreign country, like a whole deputy ambassador and two staff. Yeah. They were locked in the sector, I think, for 2 days or something.
That's outrageous.
So you can see, one, the lack of knowledge that these are diplomats. Even the house, you're not allowed to enter as a South Sudanese.
Because it's a foreign country. I think,
but reaching to an extent of arresting them.
Do you think, like in terms of do you think some of the agencies, do you think there's also improvement back from the 2015, 2016 days?
When we look into like from 2005 to 2011, it was a complete different era. But also from 2013 to a couple of years ago, it's also a different era. But now there is huge improvement, I would say, not only in the legal system but also everywhere.
You can see.
Our government is really trying their best. And I know some people outside there will be like, this guy is now this guy has started talking nice about the government. What does he want? But these are the reality. We need to acknowledge that our government have.
Because look at these lawyers. Look at this bar association election.
Yeah.
It's impressive to see.
2015, our ballot was carried away. 2 days ago, the security was actually helping, with organization, with security, like providing security.
It really shows a good sign of hope. It's a good glimpse. I think we are probably definitely we're probably messed up, but it's a good glimpse of
even before the election on 26, when we did the debate. I was one of the organizers for the debate. I actually pushed for the debate to happen. So there was a time whereby some people didn't want the debate to happen, not from our camps, not from the other camp as well, but they were afraid of, lawyers might fight. But the security organs were so open. They was like, no, these are lawyers, though.
The level of civility and respect in this process was really commendable. Wani Steven?
It went really well.
Thank you for showing up for the RecentPast, and I think definitely it's a very enriching conversation. Someone personally asked, though we had already planned it, but someone particularly said that you should be invited here. I think they definitely view your experience as valuable.
Thank you so much for hosting me, and yes, for this platform.